back on January 2nd, 2013. Our first guest in the history of Tiki and Tierney was Bruce Arians. Not yet at that point a head coach, Super Bowl winning head coach champion. And then, of course, when we went to the afternoons, he was our first guest on the simulcast, and we said, you know what? Let's create some great synergy here to wrap it up, a 9-year run. He is now our final guest on the show. He is a Super Bowl winner. He was Rondé and Tiki's babysitter back in the day. I'm sure he was banging back scotches when the kids were supposed to be sleeping, ignoring them. Bruce Arians, what's up, Coach?
Hey, guys, how you doing, man? It's an honor to be back on the show.
Dave, it's great to have you, Coach. And, I mean, I was thinking because when BT said the date, I kind of forgot. It was before you were the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals when we had you on, because you were the interim in Indianapolis. You won Coach of the Year. You went 9-3, had a great season, and you got that gig. And, you know, here we are 9 years later, and you've won a Super Bowl. You've been 2-time Coach of the Year now. I mean, you're basically going towards the Hall of Fame. I swear, Coach, I could not have seen it coming. You're one of the oldest head coaches to get your first-time head coaching job. So congrats to you, and we appreciate you always coming and sharing really your life with us professionally on the show. It's just kind of been awesome to have you here.
Well, it's been my pleasure, man. And, you know, it's crazy because, you know, you always go back to Indy. And for Chuck Pagano, had to get leukemia if I ever get a shot. Yeah. And thank God he got healthy and everything worked out. But it's been a crazy ride, man. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it has. And, you know, for those that don't know the story, Bruce and my dad went to college together. They were roommates down at Virginia Tech. And, you know, I kind of I'd lost touch with Bruce until I started working at the Today Show. And I did a story with Troy Polamalu. And I was in Pittsburgh. And I was like, Coach Arians. Like, it kind of just came back.
How long was the gap before you guys had spoken?
I mean, I can't
last spoken. 10 years?
Maybe even longer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it was probably longer than that.
Gotcha.
And then I was there to interview Troy, but I ended up talking to Bruce for a long time. We started talking about my dad, and, you know, it's kind of cool. And now here we are. We feel like fam again, especially because you're down in Tampa, close to Rondé. You know, your journey, Coach, it's one of the most unique, I think, in sport. You know, going through what you went through, Pittsburgh winning some championships and, you know, kind of getting pushed out, but then resurrecting yourself. I mean, you have a wherewithal that I don't think a lot of people would have to do what you did and still pushing. I mean, you're not going away anytime soon. Where did this come from in you?
Oh, I don't know. You know, life deals you funny hands sometimes. You just got to play them. And, you know, I remember somebody asked me one time about, well, how many times you been fired? I said 9. And only had to move my wife 19 times. But it's been a great journey. It's fun, and it's not over yet. We're still having a lot of fun, and we got a great coaching staff and a bunch of great players, and it's really fun to go to work every day.
Bruce, were you ever, you know, in I would imagine the answer is yes, but I'm not sure, ever at points before you got that first job as a head coach that, you know, you had this almost internal resignation, like, man, I'm just not meant to be an NFL head. Like, I'm not going to get my chance. Did you ever come almost to that resolution within?
Oh, totally. After Super Bowl 43, you know, when we won the Super Bowl 43, I didn't even get an interview. And, you know, every other offensive coordinator who wins the Super Bowl at least gets an interview.
Yeah.
And so I figured it was not in the cards for me. And, you know, then I always said I got refired in Pittsburgh, and everything happened in Indy, you know, and, you know, every time we've been to Indianapolis, I love the Colts organization and Jim Irsay and everybody there. Good things have always happened to us as a family being in Indy.
Did you ever find out why you didn't get that interview?
No, I just figured it wasn't in the cards. And it's funny because, you know, I was Coach of the Year. When I was interim coach, I had 7 interviews set up. I took 1 in Chicago, and 5 of them dropped me.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, did you interview bad? I mean, did you have a bad interview?
I didn't even get the interviews. They just canceled it, and so I figured it was not in the cards again. And then I wasn't going to take the interview in Arizona because Ken Listenhunt was one of my best friends, and you know, I would have had to let go of 3 or 4 guys I won a Super Bowl with in Pittsburgh who were coaching on that staff. I was like, man, I can't do that. And it didn't work out in Chicago, which I thought was going to work out, but didn't. So I called Kenny, and he said, man, you got to take the interview. You know, you earned it, and no hard feelings here, and those guys will all understand. So I did take it, and I was fortunate. Michael Bidwell hired an old guy.
Yeah.
That's a stand-up friend right there, by the way, Bruce. Wow.
It is. But, I think everybody, it doesn't matter age. You can be 15 or you can be 50. Someone gets you on the right path to ultimately fulfilling the dream. Who was that for you, Coach?
Oh, gosh. Man, I was so fortunate. I got kicked out of high school. And I was being recruited by 10 or 12 schools, and only one coach stayed with the scholarship offer, and that was John Devlin. I was later in life the head coach at Tampa, and I was able to hire him as my assistant head coach.
Oh, wow. And
kind of pay it forward. And then Jimmy Sharp. Jimmy Sharp was my head coach at Virginia Tech my 5th year. He got me into coaching. I was going to sign with Dallas, and nah, you don't want to do this. You want to start coaching. And so actually I was going to follow your dad to Dallas. So I started coaching, and those two guys changed my life forever.
I'll say so. Yeah. I mean, here we are. He's a Super Bowl champ as a head coach. He's still the head coach of the Bucks. Try to get another one here. Bruce Arians with us here on Tiki and Tierney. And some of I'm certainly not calling you old. I'm not saying that. I'm not going there. And you're not old, but you're not young. I mean, you are what you are. And we all are what we all are. But you have great adaptability, Bruce, to the modern athlete. And a lot of coaches your age, slightly younger, certainly older, they have a rough time rolling with the punches as generations change. Why has it seemingly come so easy for you?
I think guys appreciate a straightforward, honest approach. And, we don't sugarcoat anything. So it's like if you're come in my office and you ask me a question, you're going to get an honest answer. Now, probably not what you want to hear, but you're going to get an honest answer. And, and I'll tell you, if your football sucks, I'm going to tell you your football sucks. I like you as a person, but your football sucks. So I think our guys, they appreciate honesty, they appreciate discipline, and an approach where if it ain't right, let's fix it.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it's funny you talk about your path that you went on and you got in coaching, and it's a good thing you didn't follow my dad to Dallas because you might be preaching in a pulpit as opposed to preaching in front of guys.
Never gonna happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. I mean, he's now he's at Oral Roberts University. He's professor of theology out there, and so his life has had obviously a big right turn. You could say, and it's all great and it's all good things. With him. But, one of the other things that we've talked about with you on this show is your relationship with my father and the fact that, back in the 70s, it wasn't copacetic to have a black and white, friends as tight as you guys were. And I only bring that up because it informs some of the personnel decisions that you've made. I mean, your staff is as diverse as any staff, maybe in the history of professional sports, with a couple of females on your staff, as obviously all of your coordinators are black. I mean, your life experiences have helped shape your decisions, but I think in a lot of ways, Bruce, it's shaping the future of this game, the NFL. Do you think of that as your legacy? Because I do.
Yeah, I take a lot of pride. The females were on purpose. That door needed to get knocked down. And we got two great girls that are coaches that our guys love.
Yep.
I mean, super respected. The coordinators, they're just the best guys I know. And they're my guys. Mm-hmm. Keith Armstrong, Todd Bowles were captains for me at Temple. My assistant head coach, Harold Gooden, we've been together 18 years. And Byron Leftwich is just a matter of getting his ass off the golf course and getting him coaching. His star was going to rise quick.
Yeah.
I knew it, and so it's just like it wasn't by design. I do take pride in it, but it wasn't by design. They're the best people I know.
Yeah, I got you. So, Bruce, let me ask you this. Whenever Tom Brady says, I want to play till I'm 48 or I want to push 50, I mean, do you just roll your eyes? I mean, he is the GOAT. He's Brady, but, I mean, come on, man. How long do you think he can honestly play and play well?
I would not put a date on that. Because when he comes to practice, he's like he's 15. I mean, nobody comes to practice with any more energy, any more urgency every single day, and just loves to compete. I mean, there's a fire in the guy that I don't know if it's ever going to burn out.
Yeah.
But no, he's so. I don't consider myself old. I mean, chronologically, yeah, but not. I don't see myself in a mirror that way.
Yeah.
And he doesn't either.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're 69 years old now. I mean, you retired once. You were sitting in a seat that I populate every now and then, calling games on CBS, and
stuffed in that blazer. He looked uncomfortable, right? Yeah. He can't curse. He can't drink. Right. He's like, get me out of here.
And so you bring that up. You're not old, Tom. You don't feel like you're old. Tom doesn't feel like he's old, relatively speaking, for both of your professions right now. Is he going to outlast you, Tom Brady?
I'm just going game to game, week to week, year to year, and mine's all about health. And right now, I feel good other than I screwed up my Achilles. But other than that, I feel great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to every year.
So that's Bruce Arians. He's the Bucks head coach, Tiki and Tierney. Yeah, well, I guess we got to ask you a football question, but I want to ask you this one first. You have your choice. You have your pick. You can take any whiskey there is. What are you drinking, Coach?
Crown, probably Crown Reserve or Crown XO on the rocks.
See, you and my brother.
Crown, huh?
You know what? And my mom. Like, I don't know how my brother got into it. I can understand why my mom lost Crown, because you got your relationship with her and my family way back when. But my brother's also, that's his choice. I don't understand this. There's so many, like, really expensive
Japanese whiskey's been popped the last couple of years. None of that stuff, Bruce.
How did Crown become the whiskey of choice?
I used to be a bourbon drinker, and I don't know when it switched, the taste just switched.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because somebody did a story one time about if you eat your meat rare and you eat something else, you're a bourbon drinker, and if you cook it, you're a Scotch drinker. And I was like, that ain't me. I'm a bourbon drinker. And, we drank wild turkey at Virginia Tech, of course.
Ooh, wild turkey. That'll knock you out, boy. That's heavy.
Hey, man, you've never been to Blacksburg.
I've had a lot of wild turkey.
If you've been to Blacksburg.
I have been to Blacksburg.
I know. I'm not talking about you.
I'm saying that.
People, if you've never been to Blacksburg, you'll get that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, I mean, it just acquired taste. And so, yeah, that's always been the one.
Is what it is. All right, so Bruce, I don't even need to preface with answer honestly, because that's all you are is honest. Are you really happy to have AB back in the building?
Yeah, I really am. And, he was out of practice today. And, when I made the statement last year, well, then we were together for 6 months, and our history changed.
Mm-hmm.
Our relationship changed. And he did some things I was very proud of. I wasn't very proud of what he did this time, but I've got a spot in my heart for him now.
So he's earned the trust. I mean, does he really? He seems like a different person. Like, you see somebody who's really worked hard to change. He had a couple things he had to fix, and as his coach and as now a friend, I guess you see that.
Oh yeah, and I think he's working at it. He's still got ways to go.
Yeah,
we all do.
But yeah, he's working hard at it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because the timing it works out perfectly that he's getting back and he's going to be back because of the Chris Godwin thing. And then Tom Brady said something earlier this week, and I 100% agree with this. The NFL probably 2010, 11 or so put in the defenseless receiver rule where you can't hit them, and it was designed to protect basically your head, like it was to prevent concussions and things of that nature. But getting hit in your knee and tearing an ACL is as defenseless of a position as from a football player standpoint that there is. In fact, Larry Fitzgerald, who you coached out in Arizona, said, "You know what? Hit me in the head, DB. I'll pay your fine as opposed to taking my knee out." Does the NFL need to change this rule and make that a defenseless hit? Because Chris had no chance to defend himself when he got his knee taken out by P.J. Walker, I think it was. Maybe Washington.
Yeah, P.J. Williams.
Williams.
No,
that's right.
It wasn't. It's a legal hit, but I think it has to be under review this year. And I know everybody understands that you can replace a knee later in life, but you can't replace a brain.
Yeah.
But still, your career could end quickly. And Fitz was the guy that sold me on it too. And but yeah, I think that hit. Just raise it 8 inches, and it's a quad bruise, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not an ACL. And so, yeah, I think the league should look at that because, with the new rules, you can't cut on screenplays. You can't cut linemen when they're pulling. A DB can't cut a lineman anymore. So he's got to take him on with his head. And that ain't really a fair fight either. So there's some things in those cut rules that I think have to be looked at again, but that's definitely one that needs to be looked at.
Bruce, you look at the team. Last thing here, we're talking to Bruce Arians, head coach of the Bucks. You look at the team. You look at how you've played, where you've been, injuries. You look at the schedule, the path it might take to get back and defend the championship. I know coaches are inherently cautious. I get that, but you feel like you guys have a real good chance to repeat?
A lot of that's going to depend on how many guys we get back from this. We're going to put about, I don't know how many guys on IR this week.
Wow.
Starters, big-time players. But I just like our chances. If you get in the tournament, especially playing at home, we got to win one game to get our division, and then hopefully get guys back. Our secondary's finally healthy. We've only started about 12 different secondaries, and now we're going to be into the receiver core. Well, we got a little depth there. So
yeah,
I've always said if I'm going to have injuries, I'd rather have them there because skill players can jump in, whereas linemen and quarterbacks can't.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Well, we wish you nothing but luck.
Yes.
Fam, we appreciate you. Merry Christmas to you and the family, and hopefully get a chance to see you in person when all this COVID stuff calms down and you can get together with friends and family like you used to. But, Coach, you've been with us from the very beginning. You're last guest on our national show. We'll pull you on locally to WFAN when you have some New York relevant things going on. But just want to say thank you, Coach. You've been awesome, and I appreciate you.
Oh, you bet, nephew. Always, baby. Give Mom a big hug for me.
I definitely will.
Thanks,
Take care.
Coach.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.